Hey everyone, welcome back to My Movie Obsession, a place for film obsessors. If you're obsessed with retro movies from the 80s and 90s, just like I am, and also superhero movies, where you just talk about them, you're probably in the right place. So welcome to another video podcast, guys, and in this video, I'm going to be talking about Aquaman. Yes, Aquaman, the big, muscly git who is coming for our screens this December. Now, I was a big fan of Jason Momoa's performance as Aquaman in Justice League, but I feel like he was missing something, and that was a character. Now, I really do think that he nailed it charisma-wise. I also think he was the right man for the job. I also think he was the right man to kind of make people interested in Aquaman, because he's a charismatic actor. He looks, the part, and he's got a lot to bring. He's a good leading man actor, at least in this sort of movie. Obviously he's not going to come up against bloody Daniel Day-Lewis and do much, but in this role Jason Momoa will be pretty good. And obviously, as I said in my BVS review, he needed a film. You can't just throw these characters into the Justice League and expect us to care. It just won't work. It's just the most ludicrous thing they could have tried. As I said in my review, if you'd have actually made an Aquaman movie where we knew Aquaman, we'd care about him in Justice League. So, we haven't really, the jury's out on Aquaman. And that's why I think this movie is really important, because Justice League failed. Justice League no one liked. But the characters in Justice League, we hadn't had the chance to get to know them yet. So how do we know that they weren't these great characters? Justice League couldn't have worked. It just took a bunch of characters who we didn't know, put them in one film and said care. But this movie, I'm willing it to be great, guys. I really am. And I feel like there's some stuff about it that can make it great. I think that this movie could actually go about saving the DCEU, at least for the time being, and give it a sense of revitalised energy moving forward. I think James Wan's a great pick. He's made some brilliant horror movies over recent years, but he hasn't made those horror movies which just throw things in your face, jump scare. He does have jump scares, but he's actually made proper horror. His films are disciplined, his films tell a story, his films are intense and exciting, but they're not deliberately fast paced to the point where it's just trying to get to the next scare. He actually cares about what he's making, and DC needs a disciplined director for Aquaman so that they can kind of get rid of the bad taste of Justice League. James Wan's very good at making you actually feel something and not just have what's on screen be shallow, which it could very easily be in the DCEU. He actually gets me pumped from what I'm seeing on screen. This film looks like nothing we have seen from the DCEU so far. And I think that's another really good thing about Aquaman. It's kind of a blank slate. When we have Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman and these characters, we all know them, so it puts that pressure on it. Whereas this, you can kind of just create an Aquaman world and movie and character, and people don't have anything to compare it to. And I think that's why it's quite an exciting movie for DC, because there's nothing to compare it to. You can pretty much, as long as you make a good film, you can invent a character who becomes an important character in people's eyes. We've never seen Aquaman before. We've seen Batman, we've seen Superman, we've seen 1 million Spider-Man movies and 1 million bloody movies involving characters we know about. Aquaman, we've never seen anything of this character, so we can actually go, yes, something different, a different character, let's go, let's see if this can revitalise our interest in the DCEU, and to an extent, to a lot of people, superhero movies. So from the trailers, it just seems like a fun movie, and like I was saying with Aquaman being, a blank slate, it also seems like the movie itself, it's under pressure, but it's not under pressure, if that makes sense. We've already seen the DCEU fuck up. We've already seen everyone go, fuck you DCEU, you are fucked. That's what people have done. No one cares about the DCEU. We've seen it fuck up. It is fucked. I have become Tony Montana. My only word is fuck. But we've seen it. Now it's kind of like we can just make a fun movie because we've got nothing to prove anymore. I mean, I know that we want it to save the DCEU, but if you go into it with the mentality we have to save the DCEU, it'll probably fuck up again. But if you go into it just wanting to make a fun movie, like we know the DCEU screwed, let's just try our best and let's just have fun. It's kind of under pressure, but it isn't under pressure. And I feel like this movie, from the trailers, for me, it kind of has this kind of free, go for it energy about it, and I like that, and it should. And that's what Justice League should have had, you know, come to think of it. It should have had this kind of go for it fun energy. It shouldn't have been what it was a cobbled together mess. Whereas this, there's a certain freedom to it. There's a certain, okay, what can we do with this? You know, there's a certain creativity to it. You know, the way James Wan seems to be creating Atlantis is incredible. And we need something like this, you know. The underwater aspects of the movie, I mean, it sounds obvious, it sounds silly to say that Aquaman looks great because it's underwater, but we haven't seen movies set underwater in superhero. It gives it this fresh kind of take. We're seeing an underwater world, and it looks cool, and it looks interesting, and it looks appeasing to the eye, and it's a world we've never experienced before, and it's got interactions we've never experienced before, it's got ideas we've never experienced before. You know, the underwater scenes could be incredible to watch, and they could give this movie such a dimension and such a unique style. So I'm looking forward to that. That's why there's no pressure, because everyone's going in expecting to hate it, and if you come out going, wow, that was pretty great, then that's all DC needs, really. They need a good critical reception. And encouragingly, there has been some reviews that have come out, some very early reviews from fans who got to see it at a Warner Brothers screening. Those reviews are out there, and people are praising it. You know, people are saying it's a lot of fun. People are saying it's some are even saying it's the best DCEU movie. One of the reviews says it will probably get criticism from the DC fans because it deviates from the tone of the DCEU. Fine, I'm happy to deviate from that fucking tone, I'll tell you that. And it just says it's more like the MCEU, which I'm fine with. You know, the MCEU's got a template, they're doing pretty well, as long as it doesn't emulate it too much and try and be like it, you know. But yeah, that's a positive review. And then there's another review that says it's got a mixture of levity and depth. Aquaman's my top DC movie now. So yeah, I'm rooting for this movie, and the more the trailers have gone on, I mean, each trailer for me has improved on the last. And something else you got to notice that is in the DCEU trailers usually, you know, you had it with Batman v Superman, you had it with Suicide Squad, you had it with Justice League. There's always an attempt to just say, look, isn't this cool? You know, like the Justice League had that come together kind of thing about it, and then the BVS trailers, it was all about tell me do you bleed, you will. Whereas there's nothing deliberately trying to look cool in these trailers, which this is what I like. You know, there isn't that hook. You know, Suicide Squad had that ballroom blitz thing. They always felt like they had to have something crazy and in your face about the trailers, whereas this didn't. It let the film do the talking. Yeah, and I think that's encouraging because, you know, obviously, you know, you had to do everything you could to make people care about the other DC movies, whereas this one they're just trying to make the movie sell itself, which is really cool, and I really hope it does. You know, the only thing that's predicted to be bad about Aquaman is the box office, but I think that the thing it needs is the critical reception. It doesn't even matter if this bombs, really. It doesn't even matter, really. You know, the critics and the fans' reactions to DCEU and in many media properties at the moment have become so important that even if this doesn't make as much, if it gets great reviews, it will be considered a win for the DCEU because it restores people's trust. And we are living in a day now where it seems like people's reviews and people's thoughts are more important than the box office, which in a way is encouraging for me, because it used to be the box office was more important, but in recent years people have really spoke up against the DCEU, against Star Wars, against all these franchises who messed up, and we demanded better. And I feel like, you know, box office isn't the main thing. You know, it is sometimes that confidence. You're not always going to hit at the box office. You're not always going to. But if you can be a decent hit at the box office and everyone liked it and everyone had optimism, then going forward you can build on this. So what do you guys think about Aquaman? What do you think of the trailers? Are you looking forward to the film? I'm really, really optimistic, guys. I'm really hoping this can be, DC can knock it out of the park with this movie, and I've got some good vibes from it. I think James Wan's a great director. I think he's a good pick. I think the film looks great so far. Jason Momoa is a great superhero leading man. So what do you guys think? Let me know your current thoughts on Aquaman. Do you think it can revitalise the DCEU? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for listening to another video podcast, guys. And at this point, I will see you in December for a month of Christmas related content on this channel. But thanks for listening, guys. If you're obsessed with retro movies and superhero movies, be sure to subscribe because this is the place to be. And I will see you in the next video.